Hey there. Welcome to the GSPN Milwaukee Bucks live podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ty Windisch. None of us are pleased to be here tonight given the circumstance. We are presented by Prize Picks. We are pleased about that. But I'm Ty of the Eurostep, joined by Jordan Treske of the Win in Six podcast and Talk of the Tundra, which is fitting to include here because Numac of Talk of the Tundra here at GSPN is also here. You guys are doing a live show for the NFL draft on Thursday. We might just do 40 minutes on the draft up top and then get to the Bucks after. Milwaukee lost a very dispiriting 125-108 game 2 in Milwaukee to Indiana, which is, of course, not ideal. Not what you want to do is lose games. But before we get into everything that happened here, Jordan Numac, how's it going?
Disappointing, deflating, another word that has a prefix of "duh" and then some "ing." Yeah, just not a great game to watch. Yeah, that didn't make sense at all. I'm sorry. And I will turn it over to Numac right now.
I've certainly been better, but I'm not like doomer or anything. It's definitely no one likes losing
I'm
per se.
already getting the tweets of like we need to trade these three players, and it's
Yeah,
like, come on, guys, it's 1-1.
I,
Like
I, I saw like just talk of like I don't want to see Bobby at all next year. I was like, I get that
it's
you're mad at him, but I don't think we got to go that far. We no one expected a sweep.
it's
I did.
everything everything changes so fast, game to
Yeah.
game in the playoffs, and it's so funny to see because it sucks, right? Like it is dispiriting to lose any game in the playoffs, but certainly the way the Bucks lost, where they were like, they had a lead early, and then the Pacers came back, and we knew Indiana was going to fight back. I mean, I think realistically, if you were paying attention to Indiana, even knowing that their offense had cooled down after the All Star break and everything else, they weren't going to shoot 20%. They probably weren't going to just look as rattled as they looked in game one.
No, yeah,
And in game two, they didn't, right? Like the loss shook it out of them, and now Milwaukee's got to answer back. But I think there is an overabundance of takes already. I feel like I wonder, do people just forget what playoffs are like, especially Bucks playoffs? I mean,
that has to be
when,
it, right?
when
Like
they won the title, it was horrible. To start every series. I mean, you said, Jordan, this was the best game one since Detroit in 2019. Would it have been if they had won? That they didn't, clearly. Have they been up 2-0 since that series?
well, that's a great question.
The only one they lost game two against Chicago, didn't they, or did they
Yes,
pull it
they did
out?
because
Yeah,
that's when Chris got hurt.
I
yep,
think I think every other time they've not started 2-0,
that's crazy.
right? Someone go check
That
if I'm wrong.
sounds right.
I'll go
Because
look.
even the Celtics series, they lost game one badly,
The one that
and
they
then
won, they lost game one, and then the one that they lost, it started in
they
Boston, didn't it? So
and
they
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 won game
split
one.
they
Yeah,
split the first two. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I mean
Oh,
that.
2-0 Miami, Tommy's saying. Oh yeah, the when they swept Miami,
Oh yeah,
of course.
it's not a lot. I mean, again, it's not a lot of examples. It's rarely been a clean path one way or the other. Um, but yeah, like this is just the nature of the playoffs, and we get sucked into the regular season. Then when we are like shot out of a cannon into the playoffs, you just like the anxiety makes you lose focus of, oh yeah, like this is just how it is. Like this is the nature of, you take someone puts their best foot forward, the team has to respond to that, and if they're experienced enough and good enough, frankly, like the Pacers are, they're gonna take advantage of it. Like we talked about it last pod, and we acknowledged, like, yeah, like again, they played really bad first half. They made it a game in the second half. They laid a foundation to build upon things to go into this one. And I thought, I mean, for the most part, I really, as as painful as it was that they kind of were in the mix, and then it was the fourth quarter of like, okay, you're down. I think the margin was like nine or even pushing into double digits at that point. Pat gets that crazy like 4 point, 5 point play. They get it down to four. Dame comes in which I was like, that's the move. They know like they have to go on this. And the Pacers immediately rattled off like an 8-0 run and were unfazed with Damian Lillard coming back on the floor. Like, I think the manner in which they lost tonight was obviously frustrating, but it wasn't signs of like the Pacers outplayed them, but like the Bucks were in it. Like they were doing things to keep it going and keep it playing in a way that like, yeah, it was a lot different than game one in a lot of ways. But until like the wheels fell off, they had something working there. And I think that at least to me as as like I don't know, half measure as it sounds like we can at least say like they did find some method to some madness before, they just kind of self-destructed.
Yeah, I think it just felt like Doc couldn't find five guys who could play both ways. And that's not a knock on Doc. And let's do this up front because everyone talks about coaching every playoff game. I thought Doc coached really well in this game, to be honest with you. I thought there were no good answers. Brook Lopez was red hot from three to start the game. I think he knocked down one or two. I mean, he was 6 for 7, so he never cooled off that much from three. Had trouble converting from two from time to time, but like if he missed a two, Indiana just got 2 points because they were playing 4-on-5 and they're much better at playing 4-on-5 than the Bucks are. And Brook Lopez just like physically can't get back fast enough, and that was obviously a huge problem. So then you go, okay, need Bobby at the 5. Obviously, Giannis. If anyone was somehow unaware, Giannis did not play in this game. Bobby was horrible. Like both ends, it couldn't find missed 2 dunks. If that doesn't sum it up, more floaters. Both of his threes was 6 of 16 from the field of 14 points. Only had 1 foul and no turnovers, but like it felt worse than the stats. I mean, I think partially because Bobby, who always says he plays with the same energy and proves the naysayers wrong and this and that, like it will be in the midst of this horrible cold spell, and Dame is hot, red hot, and we have motion offense, and the Bucks are getting good looks. And he's demanding to post up Pascal Siakam and just bricking after bricking after bricking these looks. And it's like, are you not on the same page as everyone else on the team? Because everyone else on the team, Damian freaking Lillard is moving the ball and moving off ball and not sitting on the ball all game. And look how it works out. And Bobby, who's cold as ice, who is not doing anything defensively, is saying, I need another post up now. Why? Set a screen. Like, look at what's going on around you. A very frustrating game from Bobby Portis, who scored 15 points on 15 shots game one. So that's an okay Bobby game. He needs to be at that level every game. He was not at that level in this game. And then Chris Middleton, probably not grading him as harshly because it seemed like he was hurt in the first quarter. He looked like he had hurt a knee or an ankle or something. Came back in, was able to play 36 minutes. 15 points, just not enough without Giannis. When the Bucks need offense, he just has to force the issue more.
I think part of like the issue with Bobby and then obviously Chris is that like Bobby has a tendency to get in a groove on offense where he'll be hitting post ups, he'll be hitting turnaround jumpers, and we'll be going well. But then he sticks with it too long. It's Bobby Portis time is what really goes on in his head, and then he doesn't know that like, hey, 9 straight points is just fine. You don't got to get the 10th or the 11th or anything like that. Like, feel free to get like the stars involved. And I agree with you, Ty, that that's where Chris has to get involved and like demand that he be a part of that versus Bobby, because Bobby is almost like a vacuum sometimes with the ball down the post. He gets it down there, and you very, very rarely see him give it up on
First
purpose.
Quarter, he gets doubled. There's a shooter right off of him on the wing. He just fades toward baseline and throws up a stupid hook.
Yeah.
Like, set the tone early. It was just like, and what's the one thing the Bucks have said about this series the whole time? We got to take smart shots.
Yeah.
We can't be missing and behind the play and then complaining to an official about not getting a foul on your fadeaway spin hook and letting Indiana play 4-on-5. I was very frustrated throughout the whole game by Bobby's performance.
Yeah, I mean, I just thought a lot of what makes Bobby is that he's just a very instinctual player, for better and for worse. Like it's the same thing in the league. And we'll get to him, trust me. But when Bobby is forced into making decisions or is like over dribbling, which happened multiple times tonight, that's not him. Like, and part of it was, okay, they're playing handoffs a bunch because that's the only way that they can free up Lillard in half court situations or when Pacers are denying the ball and stuff like that. But for Bobby's sake, like you could just tell like the shots that he was attempting were like 90% of the way there with what he usually takes. And it's like, well, the angle's kind of off. And how
Yeah.
many times was he chasing misses? And I mean, he bricked one during that, like pretty much that game stealing run for the Pacers. He bricked like this little floater that is usually money for him.
Yeah.
And I just thought like he just didn't have the pulse of the game pretty much from the beginning. I even thought defensively, like the doubling and blitzing, like he wasn't doing it the way that Bobby can do it. It was a lot softer and it was a lot easier for the Pacers to do what they did during the regular season and carve it through like knife and butter. So I
Yeah.
think that to me is a like Bobby was kind of indicative of the loss of energy from game 1 to game 2. The Bucks didn't play at the same kind of verve, the same kind of obviously swagger. Whether that's just it goes beyond just hitting shots, like just chasing after the ball. There's a lot of standing when these 50-50 balls are coming your way. It's like, is this guy gonna get it? Is this guy gonna get it? And it
I
like
hate how
between
they
Bobby,
do that. The
I
your turn. It's the worst.
It's the biggest hindrance of this offense the entire season. Like I think that's why the Dame trade happening so late in the offseason was so detrimental. Was they didn't like get real time to ramp up in the offseason and like ready to go like training camps kind of stuff to understand the mantra they want to run on offense. Because I mean, you guys can tell if I'm wrong. It feels like
it didn't end up mattering because
well, no,
the person who was coaching at that point is
no,
gone.
I understand that, but the offense hasn't changed like from a Dame to a Giannis perspective all season long. It's been a lot of your turn, my turn.
Yeah.
And
I think some of the issue there is they haven't been able to play together
yeah,
for very long stretches.
right.
Just
Totally
generally.
agree.
Yeah.
Not to belabor the Bobby point, but the shot discipline. It got to 82-80 on that Bobby layup in the middle of his run that was going well. The Bucks are cutting it down like all the way down from that huge third quarter deficit they're in. And I think everybody in the Discord, on Twitter, at the game, recognized that when Bobby missed that short little floater that would have tied it, and then the Pacers proceed to go on a pretty huge run to end the court. I'll say that. Bucks scored 3 more points. They scored like 11. That was just the game. If they pass it out to Dame or Chris, they sink a 3 to take the lead. That place erupts, and the tone of that game, the momentum of that game totally changes. Instead, it's a miss transition, Pacers score, and then really inflate the lead going into the fourth.
Yeah, I think Tommy in the chat points out their biggest issue tonight was just there was like 3 or 4 players who played well.
Yep.
And it's just hard to win in the playoffs against a team that needs a win. I don't know if Indiana needed a win, but needed to bounce back.
I would say so.
I think they needed to show a better. Yeah, they probably given the honest circumstance, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, usually you wouldn't say that about a road team in the first 2 games.
But I think I saw Tony East of Locked On Pacers. That was the Pacers' first playoff win since 2018.
Yeah.
Like, we forget about it because we see them a lot, and we know we haven't seen them in the playoffs. But this is a young team, and they need, like, they're not short on swagger, as we'll get into too, but they needed that kind of like just affirmation of, hey, we have a playoff win under our belt. Rather get the road win early, especially with Giannis, who the biggest unknown of the series still, and take care of business now. And they have every reason to think that the series might permanently go their way for the rest of the way. Yeah, if they play the game that they played tonight.
Yeah. Going through player by player here. So Chris was, wasn't glaring. Didn't have a great defensive game. Wasn't glaringly bad. I just think didn't assert himself enough offensively. 15, 5, and 6 assists for Chris. Decent shooting, whatever. We went over Bobby. Brook Lopez again. 8 of 13 from the field. 6 of 7 from 3. Probably just needs to rebound more still. 1 rebound. I know he boxes out. Nobody grabs him. Just get the rebounds, Brook.
I'd rather him just get the rebounds.
Even the one board, I know exactly what rebound that was because it was like it's falling past his height, so
Do you
anybody
remember?
could really grab it.
Do you remember? It was he didn't have a defensive rebound in the game. So unless you're thinking of an
That's just
offensive rebound,
unacceptable.
it wasn't him, or at
Maybe it
least
was
he
a
wasn't
tap back
attributed
then.
with one. Yeah,
These stat
He-
keepers
he's
are throwing me
7'1".
off.
He's 7'1". He just
yeah.
needs to
One
grab the
rebound
ball.
is bad. Pat Bev. Yeah, these games are just going to happen. I mean, it's
Yeah.
Pat Bev generally also with a torn wrist ligament, 1 of 5 from the field. I think still was. I mean, his plus minus is worse on the team. It's horrible.
Oh,
He
God.
missed a couple. He missed a couple tough shots. I didn't actually think Pat Bev was a big
That bad.
glaring problem. I mean, it's we all know, right? It's Pat Bev. Like he's not going to give you 20 points a game. He might not give you 20 points for the series total. But I did think defensively he had great work. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks. Would it be nice if he could get some shots? Yes, but I wouldn't call him one of their bigger issues in this game. Let's save Dame till the end to kind of have a little optimism later. Jordan, you want to talk about Malik Beasley, who 50% from the floor. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Lot of
I
that in
mean,
garbage
At least,
time.
I think 1 or 2 of those makes were in garbage time.
3 things that stood out in Malik Beasley's non-garbage time minutes. One was Chris Middleton in the middle of, I think this was before he actually asked out of the game, like during that time that we thought, oh, he's seriously hurt. We're doing this all over again. He was berating Malik Beasley in transition defense because he was standing still, like in kind of like transition defense mode of like, okay, I'll be here so no one can drive on me, but I'm here so I could help out on a 3-point shooter. And Tyrese Halliburton has the ball, and Chris Middleton is like, I can't move. I need you to guard Tyrese Halliburton. And Malik Beasley was in another arena.
He spends a lot of time in other arenas.
Yes. And I thought, okay, this is not a Malik game. And then I think he proceeded.
The pass.
It was either the pass or the shot that he put too much mustard on.
Didn't even touch Ian.
Yeah. And it was like this. It was literally when Malik just like has these bad moments, it is insane how they just come like boom, 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 like rapid fire.
He tried to throw a cross-court pass to Jay Crowder and overshot him by like 5 feet.
He might as well have just punted the ball.
He punted the possession. And it was like already at that point you could tell Indiana was more serious. Like I don't remember the score when that pass happened, but it was like, all right, like come on, like you gotta be smart here. You gotta value possessions. And it immediately just like hucks it, and it's just like, come on, dude.
It reminds me of the play. I forget who it was against. I want to say it was the Lakers, but I forget if that's who it was. When the controller turned off, and he just
It was
left
against
the
the
game.
Pacers.
Yeah. Against the Pacers, yeah.
Okay,
He just didn't move.
The other yellow team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, to the credit of Doc, Bees was just done after that. He didn't come back in until garbage time. AJ Green got his minutes. I thought AJ Green was also a bright spot. He missed his only 3.
I needed him to make that 3.
Oh, he's playing horrible. Like, why are you talking about this guy? Watch what he does on both ends.
I was going to say,
he's one of their best two-way players in this game. I think it's not even close, to be honest with you.
I know if he doesn't hit 3-point shots, it's like, well, the classic Bucks, the 3-point shooters are hitting their 3-point shots. And it's like, okay. But like everything else, the fact that he was chasing after rebounds, like his hustle was really there. Yep. TJ McConnell couldn't score on him, and TJ McConnell is like shorter than an Eminem. Like I thought the defense that he was playing was really good tonight. Like it's like 2/3 of the way there. And if you can get at least like some kind of offensive boost, especially when the Bucks are fighting for every possession, literally just to get off a good shot. And if you don't have that from AJ, it sucks. It does, because it's like, well, do I look elsewhere? Do I look at Andre Jackson Jr., who, when you need more speed, need more defense, I would look at someone else for Andre Jackson Jr. to take over his minutes. But
I have a different young buck I want to talk about, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
Is Chris Livingston the best healthy Siakam defender on the Bucks roster?
I think he just got to take a lap. I just don't. I just don't
We
know
saw
if
it. We saw it happen.
in garbage time when they had a 20-point lead.
He was still out there.
I don't I I don't know if this
I'd
is the
rather
right
see
time to
Chris
pull that
Livingston than
lever.
Jay Crowder. I'd rather see
I
Chris Livingston than Jay Crowder.
I don't blame you. Jay has been some hot booty. Like it's
He
been bad.
sucks. He sucks.
He's bad.
I cannot
It's
stand.
not just the offense.
It's no.
He's been horrible on
been
that.
He's just
horrible.
not.
A non-factor.
He's not. This Indiana team runs, and the guy that is supposed to be this like he's this very dependable wing defender. I see him pointing to other people to take. It's like, oh, let's go over that. Okay, you go over there, and then they just run down the floor in like 5 seconds. And Jay Crowder is like, oh, I wonder why no one picked up that guy in that driving lane.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, like I don't understand it. And game one, he was fine. Like it wasn't spectacular.
He hit a shot. I mean, it's literally his whole value. I feel like now it's just does he hit a shot or not.
And if he does it feels really, really bad.
I
don't have any confidence in Jay hitting a shot.
Everyone's yelling at me about Chris Livingston. Ajax is afraid of the rim.
Yes, he is.
Let's not act like one of these guys is like the clear young guy who can for sure play
I'm not
in the
saying
playoffs.
I'm not saying that it's any of them. Like I think that's the issue is that they don't have a reliable guy to replace Jay with. Because if they did,
I would like
play
to
him.
see a guy that could run a 4.5 40-yard dash on the floor.
Oh, the
like
tot's leaking. The tot's
Sorry,
leaking.
sorry.
Live show on Thursday
I'm
night
just
right
saying,
here,
like this team
right
gets
here on YouTube.
when we see the Bucks look old and slow, it feels like someone hits you over the head with a frying pan. It's not subtle, and the Pacers are not a subtle team in that department. So like when they're playing like they did tonight, and I know we have a lot more Bucks to like get into, but I think we will focus on what went wrong for the Bucks. Everything nearly damn well went right for the Pacers.
They had a great game. I thought Miles Turner was great. Siakam continues to be great. I think Nembhard was really good. Nembhard now. He's the new most hateable. Whoa.
Jordan.
Sorry.
You can't not finish that phrase.
I would have just punt him because he seems. I just was very angry during those heated moments with Nembhard. But I also respect him because he's a really good NBA player.
Yeah.
Haliburton, the thing for me is Haliburton was not the scorer that we anticipated him to be. He was not aggressive in the traditional sense. Yet 12 points on 10 shots, 12 assists, 2 turnovers. The things that like make you fear Tyrese Haliburton and the way that he just organizes an offense was on display tonight. Like he didn't really change his game. He wasn't doing decisions that he wasn't doing before. I would say in game one. Yeah, it helped that his teammates were hitting a lot more threes than they did throughout all of game one. But I just thought Haliburton just had a way better command of the game that we had seen, and it wasn't discernibly different. And that to me, if there's one big thing to like worry about is like, it just seemed a lot more comfortable for him to kind of just, this is how I can carve up the Bucks defense.
It helps when your teammates don't shoot 20% from three and you're a passer. I think they have to stop sending two to the ball so often. I mean, they need to find. Their defense individually sucks, especially without Giannis. But they just need to find guys who can at least try and contest one-on-one. Like Bobby Portis has to stop trapping. I think now that the Pacers have found their rhythm, I just think they have, and they're going to be at home now. I would expect their role players to shoot as well there. Maybe not as well as this game particularly. I mean, they couldn't miss 44% of their threes. Yeah,
they shot like 56 from two. Like that's from the field. Like it was just bonkers.
Obi Toppin was bad, but every other Pacer was basically pretty good from three.
Yeah,
Ben Shepherd 2 of 3, Haliburton hit 3, Turner 3 of 6, Siakam 3 of 4. Siakam is just they have nothing for him.
No, that's where they need Giannis back. Is they have to throw Giannis at Siakam and hopefully Giannis can handle.
I know that's going to help quite a bit. I mean, this game too. The other thing about this game, I think a lot of things went wrong for the Bucks. Again, none of their role players except for Brook hit a 3. All of the Pacers, were hot from 3. But it was one of those games where like you could really feel like, oh yeah, they need Giannis all over the place. They need Giannis to guard Siakam. They need Giannis to swallow up stuff at the rim when somebody cuts and nobody moves fast enough because Chris's knees are 8,000 years old and you're trying to have him guard Obi Toppin out there. Oh, offensively, when nothing is working and Dame is doubled. Yeah, imagine if there was a guy who averaged 42 points per game to throw against this Pacers team. But I don't want to harp on that too much. I don't think he's going to play Game 3.
I would hope he doesn't.
I mean, I don't know. He's doing on-court work. I don't think it's that far away, but
I don't think it is
Game
either.
4 for a while, just as a gut feeling.
Yeah. Talking about like letting the Pacers get hot this game, I said it at halftime this game in the Discord. My biggest thing was just stop blitzing. They're like trapping blitzing. They're giving guys wide open shots, begging them to hit them, and they just took it all night long. And even like from game 1, they had so many wide open shots. They just didn't fall in game 1. And so they truly need to just start playing like man up and stop trapping. Because if you're giving Miles Turner and Nemhard and Shepard, all these guys, Pascal, even just wide open shots at the 3-point line, especially at home now going into game 3, it's going to be an issue. And
yeah, I mean, the way Halliburton is playing, I would make him beat you as a scorer.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yes.
Like he doesn't want to shoot that much. In this game, he wasn't that. I mean, he made some threes, but that was all. He was one of 3 from 2.
A brief moment to laugh at when they panned to Hallie's parents. His dad was in a fucking neck brace, and it was just like
they did a couple times on Bally. I watched Bally for this one. They showed him a few times,
and then it showed me he's just neck brace looking up. I'm like, I don't know why that was so funny.
That's what happens when you have to.
Also, sorry, Ty, I swore.
That's Jordan swore first. Jordan said he wanted to.
That's right.
Yeah.
Have relations with Andrew Nemhard. For everyone in the chat, please like. We have almost 100 viewers and only 12 likes. Help us break the algorithm here. I do think sometimes it feels like the Bucks believe that all that they can do with Bobby Portis is trap because he's not very good at many defensive things. But I would switch. Just let him get roasted. That would be better.
That was the thing that I was gonna bring up is they clearly do it because
they don't trust him to do anything else.
Yeah, and we don't have to look that. I mean, game 1 it was just a lot more tighter. It was crisper.
Yeah, there were some possessions they got a steal at one point on a pass that was over the middle that Pat Bev got to. I mean, they stymied some possessions with it, but it was not. They're too old around it. I mean, you could just see
I think a lot of it too is like we talk about this balance. I know Eric Nate was hitting on it throughout the game big time.
Over the head.
Yeah. But like
at a certain point I was like, Eric, I feel like they're missing layups. I mean, it would be great if they made layups.
But I understand his point though of it's like, okay, yeah. And that was actually what I was going to get to is I'm looking at the shot charts right now. The Bucks are 12 of 22 on shots within the rim, so restricted area
That's
shots.
bad.
6 of 18 on in the paint shots.
That's worse.
Non-restricted area. The Pacers, meanwhile, were 16 and 20 on restricted area shots and 10 and 22 on in the paint shots, non-restricted area. So literally, if they're touching the paint, that's at least 2/3 of the shots are going down. Like, I think that to me, I understand. It's the old it's again classic Buck syndrome of wide open 3-pointers, and it feels like it's like 9 points. But to me, what was more frustrating is that okay, if you're you're living with 3-point shots, you're living with wide open 3-point shots. They weren't defending the rim at all. Like Brook, for all the things that we praised him for in game 1, was not as sharp with his anticipation, but he also just didn't have anybody in front of him to guard ball handlers. Like Marcus Johnson hit it on the broadcast big time too, that a lot of the Pacers points was just like dribble drive stuff, like penetration.
Yep.
The Bucks were just kind of, it wasn't that they didn't know what was happening. They just were incredibly slow reacting to it. And part of it was just being out of position. So I think when you try to sell, living with one thing and then you live with neither.
Everything.
Yeah. Like that's just recipe for disaster.
I agree with the people saying play another young guy. And I'm glad that AJ Green played more than Beasley or Crowder in this game. AJ Green is not like, springy athlete who's erasing stuff at the rim, He's quicker than Crowder, and he's a better defender than Beasley. Like, it's a step in the right direction. I would try Ajax or my guy Chris Livingston, but Ajax is fine. I just think they need to be quicker, and I don't trust. I mean, this is the classic like coach probably sticks with a guy, and then Crowder and Bees make 10 combined threes in game 3, and they're able to steal it or something. I mean, that's typically when we're all ready to give up on someone. It feels like Doc or whoever the Bucks coach is trusts them, and it works out. We'll see. But I do just think the Bucks need to be quicker, and they're just even if they play better offensively, I still think they need to be quicker generally. And they got away with it because Indiana just couldn't hit anything in game 2. But I just think even game 1, excuse me, if they want to play their defense of sending more at the ball and forcing rotations, I mean forcing themselves to rotate, forcing ball movement, they're too slow for it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I wouldn't even hate using like the young guys just as like follow guys. Like, hey, make this game very physical for Siakam and Halliburton.
If Ajax is in, there's going to be.
But that's what I'm saying because they were so physical this game, and throughout the second half of the third quarter and all the fourth quarter, there was physicality happening that just wasn't getting called. If that's the case, sure, I'm not saying go out there and murder a guy, but rake him across the arms, like making sure that. Guy. Well, make sure that when he goes up for it, that the shot doesn't get off. Make it a foul, not make it like a tap foul or a touch foul.
Ajax, use the hit stick.
That's not what it says.
Jacked up.
I would have thought like Jay Crowder would have been like that.
I would have thought he would do something.
Yeah.
I mean, so what can you tell me what he did?
He got demoted to middle management.
This is employee. He's back to an employee again.
Listen. His tweet after the series last year, after the season, is coming back to bite him, and that I don't know what he does here either. Like
he didn't tweet that. It was a graphic made about what he said in this.
Same idea.
I don't know my purpose here. That's what he said.
Yeah, but now we're kind of agreeing with him. Like, I agree, Jay. I don't really know what your purpose is either.
I know what his intended purpose is.
Yeah,
yes,
same.
We all do. Yeah,
but his practical purpose just isn't there.
Hello, is that N24DV? Hello from Australia.
That's an A.
Oh yeah, it's late, Numac. I've done a lot of things at once. Hello to the Australian viewer.
Hello.
Appreciate having you here on.
Do they have
GSPN
prize picks in Australia?
Channel. I don't know. I guess I'll do the. Speaking of prize picks, America's #1 fantasy sports app with more than 5 million members, presenting sponsor of this podcast and all of our favorite place to play. Daily fantasy sports. All you do is pick more or less on 2 or more player stats for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. And playoff time, it's more fun than ever. I had a prize picks slate going, and I lost almost all 5. It was Taco Tuesday, and they give you special projections. Karl Anthony Towns, more than 14.5 points. He had 12. He was in foul trouble. So Taco Tuesday let me down. Pat Bev, more than 10 rebounds and assists. He only had 7. Didn't get there. Chris Middleton, more than 32.5 points, rebounds, assists. Also didn't get there. Chris, be more active, please. I say that for the good of the team and the rest of the pod, but also I do like the Chris Middleton PRAs, so please. Damian Lillard, 41.5 PRAs. Dame got there, had 43. And Bobby Portis, more than 10.5 rebounds. He had 8 at halftime, ended with 11. That turned into a sweat when it shouldn't have been. But anyway, playing prize picks is great. I'm looking forward to, just like the Bucks, bouncing back in Game 3. Download the app today and use code Eurostep for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code Eurostep on the Prize Picks app for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. All right. But anyway, Jay Crowder. I was straight in the middle of Jay Crowder talk. Numac goes, do the ad read.
You took a freaking chat saying hi from Australia. Like, I don't think that was an appropriate time to do the ad read.
It made sense. It was very natural. It's very, very natural segue for sure. Crowder did have 2 rebounds, so that was nice.
I have nothing else on
thoughts on the Milwaukee Bucks.
I have nothing else on Jay.
Yeah, he shouldn't play as much.
Yeah.
Would you rather see? Would you
Don't ask me
Jordan,
this.
would you rather see Beasley or Crowder in Game 3?
Malik like might actively like in a minute be really harmful or really like helpful. Jade, you just kind of like die by like 1,000 cuts. Like it's just very gradual. Malik Beasley, it feels like it's a roller coaster. There's no like in between it at this point, at least for me. But I would probably it's dependent on if the offense is really like again, if this is what Dame is going to see for the rest of the series, and there's no Giannis, maybe the earliest we see him was Game 4. I think you gotta like wring as much out of Beasley as you can.
I would say Beasley. I think Beasley has more upside.
Yeah.
Yes, he's the upside guy. There's
like does everything better.
I would play him exactly like this and give Crowder's minutes to AJ or
Green.
Ajax.
Yep.
Either one.
Yeah.
I'd give some to Ajax and see what you got. I mean, they could just use some burst. I saw
honestly,
someone
too,
I think,
like more Pat. I thought Pat was a sneakily good game. Like
I thought he was very good. I thought he just had 2 very good games. I thought it's been the best defense he played all season.
Playoff
And
Pat.
offensively,
Yes.
but he has not hit a 3, I don't think yet. But he was just 0 of 1 in this game, so he wasn't killing you. Made both of his 2s, converted the tough flagrant from when he was pushed in the back stupidly by Obi Toppin. Also, why is a flagrant worse than a technical? So if Obi Toppin pushed him in the back and it was a shooting foul, and he stood over him and did the X out, he would get 2 free throws that would both count, wouldn't he? Like if it's a shooting foul and a technical, that's 2.
yeah, I was kind of confused by that
because it's an and one. He gets 2 to make. I think it's the same as a flagrant. It's 2 to make 1.
But technical, your team also just gets a foul shot. I guess the possession probably makes it better. Although they missed the shot, so the 2 free throws would have actually been better.
Yeah,
that was just odd to me. I guess the possession makes it. The possession is why I get it now.
Yeah. No, I thought too with Pat, like it's not just the defense that he's done or the fact that I think he had 7 rebounds. Like we know that he plays bigger than his size. I thought for me, like with how much attention Dame is getting, being picked up 94 feet, like when they're inbounding the balls. Pat to me is like probably one of the few capable like primary ball handlers that you could say like he knows what he's doing. Like
the drive on Siakam was insane.
That was crazy.
He shouldn't have done that, but it worked.
It was really good.
It's a very like heat check moment, but like everything about just whether it's like, okay, I'm gonna screen this guy even if we're the opponent free throw line. He just like I thought everything that his instincts tonight were really just sharp and just played really well. And it was like that was also the move that Dame I think it was Dame comes in, Pat goes out either for him or like just a minute later, and it just felt like everything fell apart. Like Pat played such a huge part in this game being as close as it was when the Bucks weren't playing, clearly not their best game. And it's like when you lose or when you go away from the guy that's like helping you that much, it sucked.
Yeah. I think he should be closing every game. He ended up -2 and AJ Green were +7. Those were the best 2 plus minuses of the actual rotation players. And again, single game plus minus, it's noisy, but it did feel like the team was rolling with those 2. Also, let Pat C or Pat Bev bring up the ball every time if it's not Dame. Don't let Chris do it.
No.
It's so concerning every time.
Yeah, Chris it doesn't have the ball skills anymore. He just doesn't.
Also, what the Chris screen for Dame that led to Chris 4-on-3 that sweep pass to Bobby for a dunk. Maybe do that more.
More of that. Maybe
do that a little more. That seemed good. I would do that more if I was Mr. Rivers.
Do we get to the Dame at all?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I have anything else positive to say.
We talked about
PC,
Bobby.
AJ Green
kind of Brick. It wasn't a perfect game on both ends, but he was shooting the
threes knocked down. It sucks to lose that game.
I know.
It sucks to lose the Brook 6-7 game from 3.
He might have ample opportunity to do it again, but I certainly don't think we hit that.
I'd rather him not have the opportunity is my thing.
Oh, he'll have it though.
I
Yeah,
know.
he will. And
I
he'll
know,
take
but then
them.
that's the issue.
At least he takes them. The other thing about Bobby that killed me was all the threes he didn't take in this game. I
Yeah,
hate
there's a
that.
couple of them.
Super long loading up, taking threes,
It's a
or not
catapult,
even.
Or
remember?
just not. He doesn't do it a lot. Well, he
I
sped up
don't,
his
but I
shot. His shot
don't
looked
get
great
it.
to end the year. Lethal Shooter must have came back in his life like a devious ex.
You
Hey, I
can't
just
ignore me, Bobby.
I just invented a drone that shoots missiles at you while you try and shoot threes. Come through. Oh goodness.
I've got an Apache helicopter from Modern Warfare 2 shooting down at you to shoot threes. I think we talked about everyone that isn't Dame.
Yeah, let's talk about Dame. It's great to see that he's still awesome.
He's so good, dude.
I thought again he did more of his work in the first half. I think fatigue played a role, and just
Yeah.
like he had to work really hard to get open at all, and he was able to. 10 of 21 from the field, 6 of 13 from three, 8 of 9 from free throw, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 1 steal, just 1 turnover, 34 points. Just really good. Had some bad defensive moments, but just to see him be able to do this again offensively makes you feel good. Of course, the key will be sustaining this when Giannis comes back and the offense is different. But you've got to hope that just finding his groove like this on this level will help lead to that.
I don't want to harken back to last year, but the last time I came on a Bucks pod was the game 2 win where they trounced them. My worry was that letting all the Heat players get hot was going to be a detriment for them, despite even Giannis being out. But I think the same is true for Dame staying hot through games 1 and 2, because he hasn't been like super duper good, obviously, through after the All-Star break, essentially. And letting him get into a groove like this, not having to do your turn, my turn with Giannis, I think is very, very positive for his production throughout the rest of the series, hopefully. Because as long as he can just maintain, I don't want to say this efficiency, but at least this confidence level to take those shots and see them go down, I think that is going to pay huge dividends if and when Giannis comes back.
I don't want to take it for granted already of just like how Dame is in the first half, because again, this game is not nearly as close if he doesn't do what he was doing in the first half, and obviously fatigue set in. But it was okay. I was thinking mid game of like Dame is giving the Bucks their best punch back towards Indiana, and Indiana was more just kind of not bothered by it. And I think, going back to the regular season series, like, Giannis obviously set the franchise scoring high and the only win that the Bucks had against Indiana before Sunday. But even the other games, he goes supernova, and they're more than willing to live with that. And again, trying to get the balance of scoring at will and being held scoreless or practically there at least tonight. He is the engine, but when you look at the other parts that are running it to kind of keep it going, how hard he has to work to keep everything is running smoothly. And if guys don't have it, like if Bobby doesn't have it like he did tonight, Chris had a like bleh game, but there's a lot of mitigating factors. I do wonder how long this can last, and especially now that we're talking about road games now. Like, it's not going to be as easy. It's not going to be as pretty. It does help that they have an extra game to kind of recuperate, especially for him. He's got probably super heavy legs at this point.
Yeah.
But
most minutes on the Bucks tonight.
Yeah, and honestly, I thought when Doc just punted on the game, like, he's like, yeah, we can't do it anymore. Like, it was the right call to get him out of the game.
For a second, I was like, these young guys might make it a little. If AJ Green hits a three,
saw
at
that.
one point we're gonna get down to like 12 points. I was like,
I did think
and
that.
this same thing happened in the Giannis game, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
When the Pacers almost brought it back with their young guys, and then game ball gate and everything else. I was like, oh, can we get a little swap here? And
then
again, my guy CL was clamping and unfortunately couldn't knock down shots in the other.
I do want to say people in the chat are calling Dame nuclear in this. I don't know if you said it too, Jordan. I wouldn't call this nuclear from Dame. Like, he had 6 threes, 10 made shots. Like 34, I think, is like what I expect from Dame. Dame
Bless
going
your
nuclear.
heart.
I mean, well, the thing we traded for, right? The thing we traded for was meant to go
Well, yeah, but
30
it's been
plus.
a year since then. I did say at
No,
one point during the game, if he averages 0 points next season, I'm not going to say I regret the trade.
He
I'll
was,
wait till
I
the
mean,
playoffs.
at halftime, he had 26, 7 of 12 shooting, 6 of 11 from three. I
right.
would kind of say that's nuclear.
But that's the same thing as
Yeah,
the first game, right? Like it's worse than
which was
the
also nuclear.
but his first game was significantly better. He scored 9 more points in the first half of the first game. And like I think going nuclear is just replicating that in the second half. I understand it's tough. I'm not saying that Dame was bad this game whatsoever.
Yeah, he was nuclear in the first half, both games.
Yeah.
Right, but I just want to make sure that we're not like thinking that this is what Dame is like the height of Dame, because it's not. Like I
think
know
it might be at this point.
It might be. It's just, it, we talked about game one pod of how it looks and how it can you distribute that over 4 quarters rather than just 2 and a third
right,
or 2 on game one.
right. And
That
like
to me, like that's the biggest thing.
what Tommy is saying in like the chat is like I agree with. You're going nuclear if you're getting doubled at 94 feet. But
Yeah.
then he was like everyone was in their shelters to go along with this analogy for the second half. Like he just I don't know.
I feel like there was a certain point where he could kind of feel the game in the fourth quarter, and it was like, can we get any stops? Like, can anyone hit a shot?
No,
If
yeah.
not, like maybe I'm not gonna go out of my way to work this much harder for the rest of this game because it kind of feels over.
Yeah.
That was the read I got.
I think my biggest thing going forward for Doc and for the rest of the team and Dame and how they go about their offense, they have to find a way to break through getting like ball denial to Dame and Chris. The entire second half of game one, Chris was getting denied on the wing trying to get the ball up top. Same with Dame, and it was replicated in this game too. Like they have to figure out a way to get those guys open when they're doing that, because that's all their defense is right now, is just denying Dame the ball so that everybody else can beat them, and that's just isn't how it has to go in the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean they just need their role players to do something. I mean that's what I think it just all comes back to, and
Right.
you know, he needs to be the third guy. I think a lot of it comes back to Bobby, who it's like, okay, we can dump the ball to the post and get something done if nothing else is working. And that really wasn't an option for them in this game.
Yeah.
I saw somebody in the chat was asking, like, post up Brook more. I mean, maybe even if he makes it, and certainly if he misses, Indiana's just gone the other way.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue with posting up Brook, is that
They can barely afford to have him screen and roll, which is
Yeah.
why he's taking so many threes now.
yeah,
Well, that's also provided that Dame Lillard is not getting hounded by 2 defenders. Like they have a geometry problem right now. In
Yeah.
that Dame is the initiator, but he's being denied the ball. So you have to rely on Pat Beverly, or let's just use the straight line. You rely on Pat Beverly to kind of do the handoffs, pitch, pistol motion kind of stuff. Or if that's Chris, it's a lot different. It's a lot slower. It might not work as well considering just his mobility issues. The thing that when Chris has it going, it's working the wings. It's posting up. He's getting, size advantages over guys, even on Naismith, who, is a credible defender, even if he's not, Mr. Pacer, as Reggie Miller once called him. Or whatever the hell his stupid
Which is
was.
insane because Reggie is
He is
Mr.
Mr.
Pacer.
Pacer.
I guess
I
he
know.
is the one person who could give it away, but
Pacer Pest, I can't remember what it was, but it was just so annoying.
random aside, I have a new appreciation for Grant Hill. I watched game one on the NBA TV broadcast, or no, TNT. Grant Hill is good.
yeah.
He is good.
I used to take Grant Hill for granted because I think he's just like solid
Yeah.
but hearing the broadcasters that every other network has, I'm like, please give me more solid. I'm like, oh, this is totally inoffensive. I'm not pissed off listening to what he's saying. This is great.
A random aside too, I thought Jamal Crawford was really good on the late game yesterday at the the Lakers Nuggets game.
Did not listen to that game, but that's good to know.
Yeah.
I am not a fan of the JJ Redick Doric broadcast.
God no. Anyway,
Hire JJ Redick, Charlotte Hornets.
I know. I'm
please,
praying.
I am begging.
I never thought I would miss Jeff Van Gundy this much.
Yeah, or Stan.
I miss JVG a lot. Stan's still doing games.
Yeah, I know he is, but like
he is.
I yearn for Stan Van Gundy sometimes.
Yeah. Tommy asked why can't the Bucks deny the ball? We just let them pass it to who they want because they're so slow. I mean, if you get back cut or something, you're just done. And the Bucks have not been able to take advantage. But like I think Jay Crowder trying to deny the ball, I think his defender cuts, and then Chris Middleton is your other wing defender, and he's not able to get over.
Jay points to someone else to pick him up. That's what it is. The only ball denier guy on the team right now is Pat Beverly. That's actually seeing minutes.
Ajax, if he plays, is the other one. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just not. That's not there. Javon Carter is not on this team anymore.
The Bulldog. I was thinking about his pull-up threes the other day.
Oh God.
People hated him. He shot a good percentage on them.
He did.
He did not do as well with that.
They did not in the playoffs.
Going back to like who's bringing the ball up in those situations where they're trapping like the ball handler to deny the ball to Dame or Chris on the wing. If you bring Chris up, if Chris brings the ball up there, 50% of the time when they trap Chris, he's just gonna get it poked away. Like I just don't think that's a sustainable way to do it. And they've like tried it. Like I think it was the final possession of the third quarter. Chris brought it up and like posted it up, whoever his defender was at like half court, back to the basket, just backing him down kind of thing, trying to get some space. And it's just like that just isn't going to work when they're playing real defense, not the last position of the game kind of thing. I wonder, I don't remember seeing it too often in this game or game one, if they try and put Chris on the block to get him like down low so he can try and get some like midi stuff going right away. Put Brook on the wing then and then pass it out.
Well, Marcus Johnson was pointing out they've done it more. They use flex cuts to get him set up, and that's his best offense right now. That and when he just like stands up and hits a three over someone. But yeah, I think they need to use him. They need to like basically like get him the ball and then have him post up or DHO for Dame or just post up for himself. Like I think that should be almost all of his offense.
He's more stationary.
Yeah, that's how they, especially now with his knee and ankle again bothering him.
Yeah, I was really, I mean, the tenor of this pod could have been a lot different had he not come back in.
Oh God, it would have been horrible. I mean,
like the way that he was in pain, and it was like, one, it looked like he had knee contact. You see the replay, and I was like, that's non-contact. So
it just like slipped a little, yeah.
And then he stepped on Siakam's foot and twisted his ankle, and you're just like it's just this.
And then they had two braces on him, and he comes in with no brace, and I thought he looked like he got a little bit of the mobility back that he didn't have right after it happened, but he's still, slow.
He's just slow. He's what happens when you have all those injuries.
Yeah.
John in the chat asked, "Did the Bucks win if they can slow down Siakam?"
100%.
Probably. I mean, not at the cost of leaving all the shooters wide open. I think they learned that.
Wait, what is it? What was the question?
Did the Bucks win if they can slow down Siakam? I mean, I think it helps their chance. I don't think it's a for sure win con. I think it helps their chances a lot.
I would agree with that.
I just don't know exactly how to do it. Save Giannis coming back. I think you try a younger guy on him. Chris is too slow. Bobby.
I mean, like, frankly,
maybe
Siakam shot 23 times. That was 8 more than the next highest, which is Miles Turner. Like, I'd rather just give those 8 shots to anybody that isn't Siakam at this point. Make somebody else beat me. If that means Miles Turner has a career series and drops 25 a game for the next 6 games, 5 games, then so be it. If Hallie actually decides he wants to shoot and he averages 25, 30 points unexpectedly, like against his curve after the All-Star break, so be it. But you just can't let Pascal Siakam go 34, 37 in the first 2 games, now going back home where he'll have a better whistle, he'll have more energized fans around him. Like, yeah, I would agree with you, Ty. That's not a win con, but I'd rather give those 8 shots to somebody else.
Yeah, I think they had more success with Brook guarding him in the first game. The Bucks did. He shot the ball even better in this game, which I didn't frankly expect. And the smalls on him, there was a possession where Dame got switched onto him, and Brook was behind him. Mm-hmm. And instead of just switching and having Brook take over, Brook just goes around him to go stand next to Nesmith. I'm like, what are you doing? Like,
do you know who's pointing on that play?
Who?
Jay
Crowder.
he pointed out right away. He's like, "Why are you doing this, Brooke? Why don't they switch?" And yeah, and like it
He's
was
ready to be a coach.
he might be on the staff next year. He's out of
On the
contract.
staff, might be on the staff next week.
Yeah.
He could
Yeah, I
have
think
even more assistants back there.
I think the Siakam problem just gets solved if a 2-time MVP plays.
Yeah.
I really don't know who can possibly stop him.
Yeah.
We make it sound like he's Thanos right now.
He's been that through the first two. He's been the best player in the series the first two games.
I don't disagree.
I know you're bringing out the Thanos thing. I think I saw that he has had the best 2 games of like
he has
efficiency and like
37 and 36. He's the two highest scoring
like Wilt
points
Chamberlain
for the series.
When you're compared to Wilt Chamberlain's stat lines in the playoffs, like that is Thanos level. You know what I mean? Like that is that's the thing that just
he
sucks
nearly shot 70-75 from the field and from 3 in this game.
Crazy.
Yeah.
John
him getting hot from 3 is
that was bad.
That's not good.
No.
Not good at all.
John asked in the chat if the Bucks are able to win another game without Giannis. I think so. Like I just don't think they just can't allow him to go be
It's
as
gonna be
hot.
tough.
I think it's tough. Well, no one says it's gonna be easy. The playoffs aren't easy. Like,
well, yeah, but it's.
I think they can do it. They've already done it, and
Yeah,
like
at home. I mean, you presume that they would have to do it in Indiana,
right? We went from one extreme to the other, right?
Yeah.
I think that they're more than capable of doing it. Like you were saying earlier, Ty, they just need the role players to step up and do something. Like I wouldn't say
that's all.
Well, I know that's all, and then role players playing above expectations on the road is also a hard starting point. But like, it's not like this team doesn't have the guys that can do it. I know it's hard to point to a guy that you can consistently call on to do it, but in a weird and annoying fashion, usually one of them does, right? Tonight it was Brooke. Maybe on Friday it's Malik. Maybe on Sunday it's AJ Green. Like they just need one of the other guys to be effective on both ends of the floor.
Yeah, I think it's tough because it just feels like it wasn't just that they didn't get enough. It felt like some of these guys were just glaring weaknesses. And that's where it's like, how do you reverse that within a week, within a few days here for game 3? That's, I think, their biggest issue. I wanted to ask, do we think there's a starting lineup change? I think not.
Probably not.
I don't think so. I think
But I think you go get Bobby earlier for someone you feel like
would
can
have been
defend.
It would have been Malik had Chris not gotten hurt.
Well, that's what they've been doing. I don't personally like that at all.
I don't like it either, but
I don't
want
to put Chris on Siakam. But
no,
yeah.
that's barbecue chicken.
I don't like that, and that's what you have to do, or Brooke on him, which I don't find as feasible now that Indiana remembered they can knock down any shots.
This is where Jay Bean just kind of...
Yeah, that's the thing. I called him out as an X factor. I thought it's like his defensive profile and the way he's played this year, kind of struggling with quickness but good against size.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, Jay Crowder could play a huge role this series. He's been horrible.
Yeah. Like I wouldn't even like I want, even though I know it's unrealistic, for Jay Crowder to operate like PJ Tucker did. Waste all of your energy on defense stopping their wing guys. Like just stop Siakam. You could go 0 from 3. I don't care. If you can limit the effectiveness of their best player, I would sing your praises.
That kind of is how he plays. He's just not good enough.
Not good.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want. I want him to be as effective as PJ was.
Well, yeah.
He really hasn't been like that in a long time.
That's Pat Bev for them now.
It is.
It is, yeah.
Pat Bev is there, but he can't put him on Siakam.
He's not tall enough for Siakam.
You need him on Halliburton too. I
Yeah.
don't think it's total coincidence Halliburton is not shooting the greatest or scoring. I think Pat Bev is doing quite a good job on him.
It's almost like you need a 2-time MVP and NBA Finals champion to help out this team.
Yeah, that would help. Assuming he doesn't play in Game 3, we'll see.
Doubtful. Doubtful.
He probably will be doubtful to start. I would assume it's the same starters. And to be clear, the change I would make is Bobby, and it's not all just because I don't like how he played in this game. I just don't think the defense is sustainable with Bobby and Chris the way he's moving right now, and Brook the way he is a massive human being. I just think you need to be quicker, but the problem is you can't go too small because then Siakam just continues to manhandle you. So I don't know what the answer is. Do we get first quarter Andre Jackson Jr.? Just try and gum things up? I wouldn't hate it.
I wouldn't hate it just for the sole purpose of like if
Just
you're try something, and if they're gonna be physical, and let like the refs are gonna let the guys play, let them rack up fouls, and like unless he proves himself to be very effective against Siakam, then sure, let it make sure he plays sound defense and tell him not to do that kind of thing.
Well,
But-
you still live with it. Like,
Yeah.
that's the thing. You can live with a guy like Ajax doing it when you're probably, safe.
10,
everything
15
goes
minutes,
well.
if that.
Exactly. Like, it's just a jolt. Like, beyond the geometry problem is that when you don't have Giannis and you have a performance like tonight where Dame is doing a lot of the heavy lifting, yeah, Brook hit threes, but there's also the problem of can he get played out the floor based on just, how fast the Pacers play. It's not necessarily his fault, but like that is just how it is. You're running out of guys.
If only they had
just
Bismack Biyombo.
I don't know.
I don't know if Bismack
I don't
helps
know.
here.
I don't know if he
think-
would have done that either.
I don't
He probably
think
would
so.
have pointed at someone with a very long finger. He's like, "Don't do that.
Yeah.
Stop."
I mean, that Jay Crowder tried that. So we did have that presence.
Yeah.
I'm seeing Rohan and Tommy suggest TA is the answer. I just don't.
I will
don't
say, I think
know.
the best decision tonight was to not play Thanasis during garbage time because you don't
It
play
did
him
look
during
like
a
he
loss.
was. It did look like he was active. I
You
did
don't-
see him in the uniform garb earlier.
I don't
don't
know
play
why
him
he'd
in a
be
loss.
inactive.
Because you can only make so many guys active, and the other players can contribute on the NBA level. Oh, did I say that out? Whoops.
Not
Sorry.
Ryan Rollins.
Two ways can't play in the playoffs.
Yeah, two ways can't play.
Oh well, they're on the box score as the MPCD, so that's why I mentioned.
Not on NBA.com. They're not. Out of the guys who didn't play, TA and Gallo were also dressed.
Freaking
Let's
Bob
unfurl that
Iger, Disney's
mohawk, baby.
ESPN lying to me.
But I think this is wrong, actually, because it shows 14. I thought you could only have 13 dressed. I'm not going to look this up right now. I don't care. Gallo was active. Gallo was listed as DMP. It was Gallo.
Very
and TA.
happy to not see him and his mohawk on the court.
Yeah, I'm hoping
Talk
that's
about
not I'm hoping that's not the lever Doc pulls, but I
Nope.
really don't think it will.
I
I mean,
want to see it.
he has
No.
eyes. He does
Let's
have the new
go.
haircut.
Let's
I don't
go.
care. Talk about being slow. Like you're
What if
just adding.
Gallo starts at the fort on Friday?
God,
Friday at 4:30 p.m. Central Time.
that's when the game is,
Yeah.
dude. What in the?
This is the discourse last week of
Danilo
look at the
Clampenard.
NBA. You got two Midwestern small market teams played at 4:30 on a Friday. Like
That's crazy.
Rohan said you were just championing Chris Livingston. You find me the last time the Thanasis Antetokounmpo played a half as good as the Chris Livingston Utah half, and you're gonna send me here's the Long Island whatever D League film when he was second team all defense in the D League in 2013, or the Greek League where he humped a guy out of bounds. That's the only tape you've got. And if you guys haven't seen that clip, it's legendary.
I have a quote from Bobby
Oh,
Portis
God.
that was
That
talked
is
about in the show.
exactly what I'm looking at right now.
Do you want me
This
to-
is bad. This is
Oh,
bad
no.
shit right now. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for swearing. This is
We already
not
did
good.
before with the Nemhard thing.
Do you want me to read
Oh
it?
no, this is just it's just like Malik. Oh my god.
Do you want me to read it? Bucks forward Bobby Portis is asked about the physicality, trash talking, technical fouls tonight, whether he felt that he felt that was the Pacers' way of getting themselves going on the road. Here was his response. Quote, I mean, just quite frankly, they're front runners, bro. Y'all can just tweet that or whatever it is, bro. When the shit going good, they laugh and clap and all of that. When it's going bad, they not say nothing. So I think that to answer the question, guys always feel good when they're having a good game or hitting shots, everybody. I think that's just human nature in basketball. When you're making shots, you're feeling good, but when the tough going, you can't get nothing going. It kind of go the other way. So yeah, they're supposed to feel good. They're hitting shots. They game planned really well. So yeah, they're supposed to feel really good, of course. But game 3 on the way Friday. End quote. That was a
Just make a
word.
dunk instead of doing this.
Right. It's a word salad that just didn't need to be said. Like,
this is just like the bees thing. Dame's sitting there like, come on, dude. They're gonna throw 5 guys at me now.
Yeah. I think it. I mean, he wasn't wrong. Like,
yeah, no. Just don't get outplayed by Andrew Nemhard instead of doing this. Would be my order of operations.
I understand that. But what did you just can't expect Bobby to not say anything. Like, I'm not saying like anything at all like about this, but like Bobby's Bobby, for better or worse. He's gonna talk and he's gonna
looks down and away from the camera. It's gonna be sad next time we see them. It's very convincing trash talk the Bucks are putting on lately.
I don't disagree. But
another quote that is much worse, actually, that was shared earlier, also from Eric Name, which I wanted to address on the pod. Actually, Kelly Iko reported it. Eric shared it. That's why I got the notification. Kelly Iko is the Athletic. I think normally covers the Rockets, but is taking over the Pacers beat. I don't know how the geography of that comes together, but whatever, is doing good Pacers coverage at the Athletic. Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton says his little brother was called the N-word by a Bucks fan in Game 1. Wait, Game 1? I thought it was Game 2. Either way, obviously, that's horrible.
Yeah.
That person should be banned. I hope they were banned. And
they were not.
Obviously disgusting.
There was a follow-up.
Oh, there's more?
There was a follow-up that building security intervened, and he was not banned from that game.
Was he not from that game?
Yeah, for the rest of the game, he did not leave the game.
How? That's terrible.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, be better if you're a fan of the game. I mean, get loud. I heard people were sitting. Don't sit at the playoff game, but get loud, but in a positive or in a. There's a fun way to be a hater at sporting events.
Yeah. Like,
boo, that's good.
Yeah, it just starts with don't be a piece of shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
That's a pretty easy one. That's an easy rule.
Yeah.
Also, not to be this guy too, but Halliburton's parents are sitting right by the bench. I would assume his brother's not that far away from them.
Yeah.
It's season ticket holders, they can easily lose their tickets if this really gets figured out. Yeah. Not that building security really protect it either, but it's just intolerable that people keep doing this and it keeps happening in the NBA. Yet it's not going to change because just racism is, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that stinks. So I'm really hope that doesn't happen to any player or any fan at any game going forward. Unfortunately, like you say, Jordan, it probably will, but anyone who does that should be kicked out and should be shamed by their fellow fan as well. And they certainly are shamed by the 3 of us on here and obviously the other 3 GSPN hosts as well. Other keys to Game 3. We covered potential starting lineup changes. Somebody asked us earlier about zone, if we like the zone. It was okay. I think it kind of suffered from the same issues as everything else they did, but I thought it kind of worked for a while. I mean, they did bait Indiana in some worse shots, like Obi Toppin's spinning jumper. I was like, okay, yeah, if you can make him shoot those, that's pretty good. So yeah, the zone was nice.
I'm trying to think of anything else. I think rebounding is a big problem, especially the more that the Bucks play small and obviously without Giannis. We saw lineups where Bobby was at the 5, and it would be like some machination of Dame, Bev, Pat, maybe even Chris, or if it was AJ Green, which I think that was the lineup that kind of brought them back into it. It just puts even more onus on those guys to kind of be alert, don't ball watch, and just kind of be in rebounding position too. Like, yeah, that's a big X factor moving forward because it happened in Game 1, didn't work or was it out advantage for the Bucks in Game 1? It certainly wasn't tonight either.
I think the biggest thing is that they have to figure out a way to get the ball moving more. Like, the ball just needs to start moving and stop getting stuck at places. Pacers had 38 assists tonight to the Bucks 24. Like, that's like 24 is still good, obviously, but that's a pretty big discrepancy. They got out rebounded 45-40. Like, the
Bucks actually had more offensive rebounds, which you wouldn't guess.
No.
Really? Indiana only had 7.
Well, there was that one where
to be fair, they had 4 on one possession.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's true.
It was the
Still couldn't
I
hit
think
a
that was the Pat flagrant possession, if I'm not mistaken.
38 assists on 50 shots is legitimately like
Insane.
god tier stuff. Like that
Yeah,
is
Halliburton looked
insane.
like halfway back to Halliburton in this game with the passing. The scoring still was
Yes.
not there. I think you still. I think you have to. I wouldn't trap him anymore. I just
No.
wouldn't. I mean, he
No.
has not scored at a level in this series where you require that. I would. I wouldn't go all the. I wouldn't go super under either. I mean, I would try and chase him over or just switch, but I don't think you can keep trapping him.
I'm nervous that late three is something for him. He sank that late three. That was pretty much the dagger.
There
We
was like
talked-
4 daggers in that quarter, but
Well,
yeah,
no,
I
I
mean,
know,
we'll
but
see.
like it's just the same idea I said last year. Which again, I don't want to harken back to last year, but like just letting guys get going when the game's out of reach like this, like it translates. It just does, and that's where I worry. And I'm willing to let like go with the idea of let Allie beat you, stop trapping, and see if he can shoot his way out of a slump, and hopefully he doesn't. But that was a major, like that was the one. Doc called timeout. That was pretty much it from there. I think the only, like we talked about Doc way earlier, the only thing I was upset about was he waited a few times too long to call timeout.
Yeah.
Like after the Patriots went on their run, after the Bucks had gotten it to 2, he waited too long after that one too. Like all the really good coaches in the league call really good timeouts during runs. They stop them early.
You're
Like,
talking about
pop
the 8th winningest NBA coach in NBA history right now.
I'm also talking about the coach that's blown the most 3-1 leads in the playoffs. Like
He's won the 8th most wins in the history of the NBA.
If you just get blown out of the first round, if you make it at all, you can't blow that many 3-1 leads. So Rick Carlisle's onto something here.
Actually,
Right.
I will say the other one criticism. That challenge was stupid.
It was a bad challenge.
It was really bad.
Not
I was
all on
like,
him because Dame was so insistent, and I watched the replay. I was like, that's a stupid challenge. First off, unless it's incredibly clear, just like a possession and not an important foul on Dame. Dame's not a guy who gets in foul trouble. He ended up with 3. It's just possession. It's not points on or off the board. In the first half, I just wouldn't challenge it if it's close at all. And that one, I mean, like, I think it probably was. It was closer to not a foul, but those don't usually get overturned. That was a bad challenge. I agree.
Hallie's talking spicy about the crowd at Reserve.
What did he say?
We've had regular season crowds better than what we've played in the last 2 games. Which
That was rude.
it was, but I'm also not going to say anything when his brother was called the N-word.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I can't
true.
believe that.
True.
I heard game 1 was pretty loud, but I heard game 2 wasn't.
Yeah.
I thought it was reflected. I mean,
I wasn't there. I don't know.
I don't know. Rohan was live on the scene. We'll have to hear his thoughts.
Coolin in the chat earlier said he was told to sit down, which sucks.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely believe that happening.
Yeah, that's a very Wisconsin sports thing.
It's just Wisconsin in general. My dad and I had to sit down at Paul McCartney in Miller Park. It's a concert.
Yeah.
It's not the opera. He was a Beatle.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Women used to pass out from screaming. They were so excited. You want me to sit down?
When I was in high school, I went to a Packer game and I had an older man grab me by my collar and throw me down because I was standing during a red zone possession.
Insane.
Yeah, it's just Wisconsin. Like the old people in Wisconsin truly are grumpy, and I don't want to say all old people are grumpy that go to games because there are some pretty feverish.
You sound like a senatorial candidate that
Like I just think people forget that the word fan comes from fanatic. Like you're supposed to be like wild and crazy and cheering on your team and not just sitting there in your polo and freaking khaki
those people
pants
that make the MLB
paying
uniforms?
$500 for a seat in the lower bowl to then clap your hands and eat popcorn and not fucking put the t-shirt on. Oh, I hate that they priced out fucking real fans. It pisses me off.
I heard the tickets have been cheap for these games.
They have been cheap.
Yeah.
I think that is the aggregate, like, get in the door kind of thing.
But still, it's...
Yeah.
Giannis is a needle mover, it turns out.
In a total pivot to something else, I see that somebody called Zubac Zoo Elsendor. which is how you just see what prompted that.
Iron Eagle, I believe, did. That's what I'm saying.
Iron Eagle said that on the broadcast?
Mm-hmm.
Are you? No, I feel like you're.
No, that is
no.
legitimately what he
There's
said.
3 back-to-back tweets on my timeline about it.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Shout out to
do a
Utica
Talk
slap
about
or
a Malik
something.
Beasley heat check 3.
God,
I can't believe he airballed his only 3 of this. You have one job.
he did it in game 1 too.
At least he
He
made
did.
some later in game 1.
Yeah.
Well, I guess he didn't have a chance in this one.
He had that game 1. He airballed the one in game 1 that went right to
Yep.
Jay for the layup. Or no, because he missed the layup.
Yep. It was a good summation of how both of them have played in the playoffs so far.
Yep.
Oh, I just realized when Adam McGee watches this game in 3 weeks, he's going to say, I told you about Crowder.
So, yeah, I mean,
When he listens to the pod, he'll
to be
in
to
like
be
a month.
fair, that was everybody knew that was coming.
Everybody
from
voted.
Crowder.
Yeah.
Boss man.
Yeah, people
more
keep
like,
tweeting me 5 second-round picks. I'm like, I still don't care about that. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't.
Oh,
don't care.
the second round
cost of
for the
getting
Jay.
in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
whatever.
care.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to be technical, 2 of them were routed to another team for taking on other bad Bucks contracts to make the trade work.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with the 5
And also,
second-round
like,
picks.
I would have a worse problem with it if the Bucks could prove they could develop second round talent, and they just can't.
Chris Livingston's next up. I'm
Listen,
just saying. I'm just saying.
I want it to happen, but
I do too.
as of right now, it just isn't happening. Like, Brogdon was the last one? I don't even think he was. Yeah, he was like in the 40s or early 30s.
Yeah, that was a second-round pick.
That was the last time, and before
Mamba
that,
started for the Spurs.
okay,
He did.
congrats. It
I
was
think they
Jordan
developed
Wara
Mamu.
and
I think they
Sam
developed
Merrill are
Mamu.
NBA champions.
Wara still plays sometimes. Merrill
He
was
does.
for 2 weeks. Cavs fans were like, Sam Merrill is actually fucking awesome. And then,
no, they still want Sam Merrill.
well,
Yeah.
he played at that time, so that was a different distinction, I think.
Right.
Mamu, I would say, is a win. He was just never going to play because the positional overlap with Giannis and Bobby.
Yeah.
But I think he got better in the org, and now is playing well for the Spurs.
Are we doing predictions for Rohan?
Oh, yeah, we should. I think they're going to
Jordan?
take a different tenor than our game 2 predictions.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think they could take it. I think they could keep playing slow. I think they can make their shots. I think they could. That was basically game 1. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this feels very
Let's just
sustainable.
do it again. Yeah, I think that if the Bucks just tell Indiana to shoot 20% again, they're going to be great.
Biggest prediction, I agree. I don't think we see Giannis this game.
Yeah.
No.
Brother. Bobby's got the comments to get everybody fueled up and fired and ready to go, I guess. I think the Pacers win. And
You got to give a score.
Pacers 118, Bucks 102.
So, like, wasn't this game? I guess 125, 108 was this game.
Numac?
I'm also going to say the Pacers. I think they have a whole lot of energy going into game 3. I think it's going to be tough. I'm not saying they couldn't win, but I think the Pacers just ride the same energy the Bucks had in game 1. I'm going to go worse for the wear. 138 to 112.
Oof.
Did you say 138 to 1? So you're saying this is like a boat race.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Not
Also,
me.
Bucks not a very good road team, which is I'm very worried about.
The doctor is in.
Oh,
Bucks 115, Pacers 108.
Love the
Bucks win
optimism.
game 3. The defense is back because Doc diagnoses the problem, pulls out his hoop stethoscope, says, we need to excise the Jay Crowder. We need to minimize the Malik Beasley.
The Jay Crowder.
The boss man has ruptured. Removes it, injects some youth into the team, and I think the Bucks pull it off.
The
I do.
power of
I'm going to be
Christian Livingston
optimistic.
compels you.
If we see first half CL,
You ascend.
I might do the post game solo. It might just be me.
I think that might mean Bobby gets
We might do
injected.
dueling streams. I'm going to say, here's the CL show. You can tune into the GSPN post game as well. That Utah game, man.
Yeah, that was a fun game.
We got to talk
really,
about it.
Lost
They've almost won. We got to talk about it like CJ Stroud with the Georgia game because they never play him. So we just literally has to be like, that one game, though, when they did play him, that was fun. Back to football. Talk of the Tundra, GSPN's Green Bay Packers podcast.
That's right.
What are you guys doing, a live stream and pod? How is this set up? Does the pod just start during the stream? Is that what you guys did
That's
last
what we're
year?
going to do. Yeah,
okay.
That's what we're gonna do. We're gonna hang out and watch the first round of the
draft.
Right
all
here
17
on this,
hours.
That's right, right here on this YouTube channel. Just the first round planned for at the moment.
Are we doing from the start? Or are we doing it more relevant to where the Packers are selecting?
I'd like to start from the start like we did last year. Just kind of hang out.
Let's just talk through some logistics here before we wrap up.
Yeah, just talk through the logistics. I plan if I have my way, we'll be on for the first pick because the first pick is the Bears, and we got to make sure we slander Caleb Williams as much as we can. But yeah, we'll be here live for the first round of the NFL draft all the way through. When the Packers pick and shortly thereafter, once they pick, we'll just start the pod here on the YouTube so you guys can get first looks at that. But then it'll be uploaded as a regular pod to the feed as well, so you guys can go check that out.
That'll be fun. And
I'm
then
excited.
after that, the Bucks play. I guess a day 2 stream will be hard because we will have a Bucks next play Friday again at 4:30 Central.
Again,
4:30 Central.
The problem is that there was a lot of chatter about the Packers drafting back from 25, which would put a huge damper on our pod. Me and Jordan had to have that conversation this afternoon. It was like, hey, what if?
I guess you would have to do one Friday then because they'd have like 17 day 2 picks.
Yeah, they already have 4. And if they're trading back from 25 to anywhere else, you'd have to imagine they get at least 2 day 2 picks.
They could always come back up at 31 or something. We'll see what happens. There's a lot of options. A lot of options.
Gritty moves in mysterious ways. Let's just say
He do. But yeah, go check out Talk of the Tundra. Subscribe to it, rate it,
and
review it, all that stuff.
Andrew shares that there's a Cruising for a Bruising Pirates series recap where they'll let us know which pitchers are in iron lungs and why the bats aren't working. Every time I see a Brewers tweet now, not during a game, it's just like another pitcher was struck by lightning. Jesus Christ, man.
I just want one like regular season of like injuries. Hey, guy's got a sore shoulder. He's on a 10-day. Okay, fine. Jacob Judas got hit by a fucking fly ball in the neck.
Dude, the warning track is not good to Brewers.
Can Mark Attanasio just fucking shell out? I'm not kidding. $60,000 for 4 kids to freaking shag balls with the team for a year.
How much do the kids cost?
No, just hire the kids.
I think you can get them there for free. See, I'm Mark A coded. I think you can get the kids out there for free.
Right, but then it turns into the home run derby where the tragedy happens once in a while where a kid gets just a laser to the ribs.
That's called learning a life lesson.
Yeah.
All I'm saying is that last year Rowdy's finger just got taken off by the Reds outfield shagging balls, and now Jacob Judas.
That's right.
Got hit in the neck with a freaking fly ball. Why
Ron
don't
said Doc is gonna bend over fully so his head is at his feet and be so locked in?
Because his head's in the fucking sand.
He's even more powerful there. I didn't ask how much kids cost. I asked Numac how much he thought kids cost. And that's a different question.
And I said to hire them like regular working people. 18 and older, by the way. We're not about child labor. This is not a child labor podcast.
In court. You said kids. That's not going to hold up in court. Let's end the show before Steve Kahn comes up. Thanks, everyone, for listening / watching. The 50 or so of you who are still here on YouTube are real troopers. Hopefully, everyone's feeling a little bit better after the ugly loss, after taking in the pod. I know I usually do. Thank you to Jordan and Numac for joining. If you haven't tapped in before, either on YouTube or on the audio podcast feeds, make sure you subscribe and give us a rating and review, which really helps us out. We will be back Friday night, if not before, maybe a little something bonus before then. We'll see, but for sure Friday night after the game. And of course, as discussed, Talk of the Tundra will be live Thursday night for the NFL draft. The Bucks are off, so we can focus all on the draft. Packers have a bunch of top 100 picks. I mean, we probably only see one of them in the first day, but a lot of fun stuff happening for the surging Green Bay Packers. So subscribe to that on YouTube, well, same YouTube or audio as well. Pod Random, and we will talk to you next.